Good to have you with us this morning. We're here for the Coach's Corner, first edition, with a brand new head coach, athletic director here at Eufaula High School. Coach Bryan Moore, glad to have you.
Thank you for having me. Glad to be here.
Let's start out just a little simple thing. Let's talk about what you've done in the past, where you're from, where you went to school, that sort of thing.
Well, I'm from Valley, Alabama, and I went to Auburn University out of high school and spent 4 years there. I was a social science major, and then I got a job at Opelika teaching history, and spent 8 years at Opelika. The first two I was a freshman coach. The next two I coached tight ends, and then I became the offensive coordinator. And spent 4 years as the offensive coordinator there, and then wound up here. Personally, I have two little boys, Parker, who is 4, and Baker is 2. And my wife is Lindsay, and she's actually joining this staff tomorrow as the bookkeeper at the high school. And so you know, we're going to make this our home now, and we're going to be totally invested in this community. And she's excited, and I'm excited about what's to come.
One of the things that I've observed from the first time I met you when you were here being approved by the school board, your family, the kids are extremely well behaved. That's good to see. They're extremely nice, they're polite. Your wife is like an angel. I mean, she's just as nice as can be. And I know that we're glad to have you. But keep in mind that we're going to be talking about some football and about changes that are going on here at Eufaula High School. If you were to set back and from when you got here to where we're at now, what would you say the biggest changes that you've brought to this program?
Well, you know, we're trying to. The biggest thing for me so far has been athletic director type work. The football aspect of it has been, I don't want to say I put it aside because we've certainly done our job there, but we're trying to raise funds here. We're trying to push to improve all sports. We're working on some facility upgrades and those kind of things. I established a new plan as far as an athletic handbook. Kind of some things that I expect, some policy things throughout our entire athletics department. And then building our booster club has probably been priority one for me. Last year and several years going back, we've had 3 base members that have done, there are a lot of people that have done work, but these 3 people have done a majority of the work. And so we had a parent meeting a little over a week ago, and I just asked for help in the booster club. We want to grow our booster club. We want to grow those funds to be able to give back to other sports, because football gets none of the booster funds. All sports will get that, and it helps to support those that are non-revenue sports and to keep those guys fulfilling all their needs for all of our athletes, both girls and boys. On the facility upgrade side, we are going to the board next week, and going to have architects speak about an indoor facility for all sports that would be a football field of width 53 1/3, and then it would be 25 yards long and have weight equipment in there. It will also be have a soccer wall for them to practice. It'll have everything, baseball bases stitched into the turf. And softball bases stitched in the turf. So we want it to be an all sports thing. So that's been first. It's been facilities, it's been boosters, it's been funding. As far as football, the biggest changes have been we're trying to add a lot of energy into the program. We've made some moves as far as coaching. We may get to that, I may be jumping ahead, but we hired our first strength and conditioning coach, from my understanding, in the history here. And that's going to be great. Brandon Johnson will be coming from Opelika. He was approved by the board at the last board meeting at the end of April, and he will work out all sports all year, starting in the fall. He will also serve as our offensive coordinator here. Pat Benson is going to take another position at another school, and so Dwayne Mock has stepped up and been the interim defensive coordinator, and he's done a great job. We've had to shuffle some pieces to kind of get us through spring, but we're hoping to bring in a few more guys in the future.
When you look, let's go one section at a time here. Let's go to the Boosters Club. Okay. How do you envision that this Boosters Club should be supported, and what can the parents do to help the Boosters Club?
Well, we just need parental involvement mostly. Again, we're having too few people do too much of the work, and I'm just calling for help for those people because I don't want to lose the officers that we have now. At the meeting, we introduced some new officers for the Booster Club, and then again, we just need help mostly. We need to raise money in that account, and we need to do so through everybody getting out and working. We have a golf tournament coming up May the 23rd that we're hoping to get teams in and to have a lot of support there, and that money will be sent directly into the booster account again so that they can assist other sports. We don't want them to have to support other sports, but we want them to assist and provide people when they need it. But again, that's the first priority for me, is to help increase that. One of the changes that we made to help other sports, our secondary sports, is that we created a concession account that will be individual to each sport. So where the Booster Club used to run every concession and then we would allocate that money back out, all sports will have their own concession stand and they get to keep that money in their account. So if I'm the basketball coach or the baseball coach, softball, volleyball, soccer, I'm going to do a great job of getting my parents involved so that we can raise our revenue through the concession account because they're getting to keep all that money, every bit of it.
When you look at the boosters and the service that they provide, not only in running concession stand, raising the funds, seeing that the needs are met here at the school, these people put in some hours, but they seem to enjoy it.
They do. Okay, the three that have been doing the bulk of the work, not all the work, but the bulk, Nicole Johns, Tamika Woodson, and Jimmy Taylor, the only one left with kids here is Jimmy. And Tamika and Nicole, their boys are off and playing and playing collegiate sports. Mm-hmm. And Jimmy has a senior, and then he's done. So that scares me a little bit because of the time that those three people, and again, there are others, are putting into this booster club. But we just need to recruit. I've recruited parents of younger athletes, a lot from the middle school. Coach Nathan Black has given me some names. I've been reaching out to those people, trying to build those relationships so that they can continue our booster club and then even grow it a little bit. But it's incredible what we've asked of the three main people that have been here so far. They've done above and beyond what they should be doing. They're here almost every night. And again, they don't. Two of them don't have kids here anymore. They're just here because they love Eufaula, and they do an incredible job. It's more than we should ask them.
When you look at the fact that you need more volunteers, who would they call? Who would they get a hold of?
They can call me here at the school. They can call Nicole Johns. Again, she's the president. She's going to retain that job as the president of the Booster Club. But she will put them in a place, anybody. And again, we were reaching out to some people, but we've also had good returns on that, and people are coming to us and saying, I'll be willing to help. But again, we're trying to build that, and Nicole can really help. She does everything. She has it all organized and really does an incredible job.
Let's talk about two events that are coming up just a little bit, because I want to talk about concessions. With the spring game coming up, will there be a concession stand at that event? At
the spring game, there will be. So we have a scrimmage Saturday morning, May the 9th, at 10 a.m. And what we'll do there, I hope I'm not jumping ahead, but what we'll do there is we'll go, we'll cook hamburgers. So we're going to start the scrimmage at 10. It's going to be as live as possible. It's going to be controlled, and I have it all scripted out exactly how we want to do it. But there will be officials. We'll be announcing the game. We're going to do a little devotional before, so we're going to make it as game-like as possible. And then we're going to feed the kids at 12 after the scrimmage. The scrimmage will last about an hour and a half. We'll dress back in and feed them. And we're going to ask that parents And anybody in the community that's at the game, we would love for you to purchase a hamburger plate. Mr. Taylor's going to be organizing that and cooking. And that way we're just kind of, we're not looking to make any money, but just sort of reimburse us for feeding all those kids. Feeding 100 kids is an undertaking, but we'll have that available in the commons area in the school after the scrimmage is over. So there won't be a concession at that, and it'll be free to come in. Mm-hmm. On May the 15th, we play Northview at 7 o'clock. Some things have said 6, but we're going to play it at regular game time at 7. We will have a concession. The Booster Club will run that concession. The band will not run their concession, but the Booster Club will. The entry to the game, the fee will be $5 at the gate. It's a little cheaper than, I just want everybody to come out and support. But it will be more game-like even than the scrimmage. It'll be a full 4-quarter game. Again, officials, everything will be on the chains and live. The only thing that won't be live is the kicking. But the concession stand will be open. And then one other thing about that, the football team will not get those concessions. The Booster Club will retain that to be able, again, to raise money, because football concessions make a good bit of money, and we want to keep that so that we can, again, send it out to all sports and help those non-revenue sports fill their needs.
Let's go back to the spring game. We've got the scrimmage game coming up on this weekend on Saturday morning, but let's go to the next Friday night. When we're looking at that game, how much is it going to resemble a typical game? Because normally we've had games where we played 3 quarters like a regular game, and then it's like we start over again.
Right.
Is it going to be that way this year?
That will be the exact format. Okay. And the reason for that, and anywhere I've ever been, we've done it that way. And so we go the first 3 quarters with our starting group, and we're playing to win. And again, the only thing that's dead is the kicking. We'll run the punter and kicker and those things, the returners out, and we'll kick and punt, but everything will be dead. Everything else will be live. The first 3 quarters will be with the starters or whoever's at the standard to be able to play at this point. And then the 4th quarter will be a JV type / ninth grade type scrimmage where we're trying to get all our kids in so they can get some game experience and play in front of a crowd here at Tiger Stadium, because I know the atmosphere is electric here. And that'll be good for those kids as we approach the summer to get everybody into a game. But again, we want to play 3 quarters of live football, and then with the 4th, just sort of it'll restart like you said, and everybody will get in the game, and we'll just kind of see what we can get there, put everybody on film and see how they react, because kids are different. You practice, you got a guy that's doing very well, and sometimes those lights come on and things change a little bit, and sometimes vice versa. You get some surprises on Friday nights that you maybe didn't think you would have. But we want to see everybody, put them on film so we can have something to evaluate as we get into summer.
Tying this in with what I saw yesterday afternoon, you've got one practice that just runs boom, 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 like it's in a real game. Is this going to be the way the team's going to react in this first real game?
Well, there have been 2 things as a head coach that I've really focused on, and that's energy and effort. I mean, we're making so many mistakes, because it's fresh. That was practice number 4, and it's been better. Every practice has been a little bit better. The defense is ahead of the offense, which is very common in the spring, which is what we want. I always say that if your offense is whipping your defense in the spring, you're going to have a long year. And your defense better, we're going to put most of our good players on defense, because you got to be able to stop people. You win with defense. But as far as the energy and how we move and transition in practice, the efficiency of practice is my job. That's my number 1 job as the head coach, is to make sure that everything runs and we're transitioning from period to period. Everything's on a timer. You and I talked about the segment timer. It goes off every 5 minutes. We'll have, say, 28 periods in a practice, and it continuously goes off, and the coaches have a practice plan as to where we are as we work through it. I just think the organization of practice leads to organization in the game. And energy in the game, and how we run on and off the field and how we transition says a lot about how we're going to play that series. And so I've been holding both sides, offense and defense, and then whenever we get ready to break, I hit the whistle and we're sprinting on the field and we're lining up and we're getting our calls in and we're getting after it. I just think how you approach that series says a lot about how it's going to go. And we're working real hard on energy, and this week has been a little hotter. and it's been harder Monday and Tuesday to get them going. But we're not letting up on that. Our coaches are pushing. The coaches are doing a tremendous job of handling that organization and handling where kids need to be, because we spend a ton of time on practice planning, and our coaches meet at 6:30 on practice days, and we go over the practice plan so that everybody's on the same page.
When you look at this and you see the organization that this team is now exhibiting, it's going to make a difference in the way they play. You can just tell in their attitude, the excitement. They're anticipating something to happen. And I'm glad to see that. It's good when a team has that. But the coaches and the staff are the same way. The ones I've talked to have just been ecstatic about what's happening. So let's look at what we can expect after the summer, getting into the fall. We're always going to have a pretty tough schedule. What do you think we're going to do there?
Yeah, the schedule was already set. We're on the 2-year cycle, and as far as region play, Charles Henderson and Greenville and those guys will be really, really good, as they always are, athletic. I've been able to look at a little bit of film. I've seen every game from last year and tried to start thinking about personnel as to what they have coming back opposed to what we have coming back. What coaching changes might have been made as far as what scheme differences would be there. But what we'll do is we'll go through the summer. We'll go 4 days a week in the summer. We'll work out at 6 a.m. every morning. I'm an early riser, and I just think what we can do there is work out in the morning, leave about 8:30 or 9, and let the kids go to work. I know a lot of the kids do that in the summer, but get everything done in the morning. And it'll be tough at first, getting the kids up. I think that in the past I've been working out in the afternoon, and I just am a morning person. That's why I want it done. And but we'll take Fridays off. And then when we get to fall camp will look very similar to spring, in that we'll be, working through some long days. It'll be hot, and we probably won't do any two-a-days, but we'll be working through those long days and pushing through that heat and getting those guys acclimated to that. And then when the season rolls around, as of right now, we do not have a preseason game. That was Dothan, played at Dothan last year, and they broke away and are going to play somebody else. But I'm looking for that game. I would like to have it as a jamboree. It will not count because we still have 10 regular season games scheduled. But as far as 0 week, right now, we don't have one. We'll play straight through weeks 1 through 10 and then get deep into the playoffs. But that's where we are. Again, the opponents here, anytime you're in 5, 6A South, 7A South, they're going to have some quality athletes. There's some good coaches in this area. But I feel like we're going to have a good football team too. I feel like we're senior laden. The last count I had, we had some new ones come out. We had 28 seniors, and for a 5A team, that is a really big senior class. This group is 7 of them have started. This will be their 3rd year on defense as a starter. So it's here, and what I tell the kids is how we come together and how we care about each other, and how we sell out to the new staff that's here, and sell out to each other. It will tell a lot about where we go this year. The talent's here, but it's just going to be about, can we buy in? Can we be unified, and can we love each other in a short amount of time? Because I told the seniors, the first meeting I had here, I had just the seniors. I wanted to talk to them before the team, because this is their team. This has nothing to do with me. This doesn't have anything to do with them individually. It has to do with this senior class and what they can do. This 2015 group that's going to go through in fall, this is their time. They've got one shot at it. And again, how they buy in a short amount of time is going to tell us how we're going to do this year.
When you look at this group, and I agree with you, it's a very large group for this size school. I know the last time the numbers were counted here, we almost moved up a division. We're right at the top of it, unless things have changed, and I haven't checked with Mr. Hawkins or Mr. Tyler about it. How will that affect our program if we have to change divisions?
Well, we'll take it. Whatever's given to us, we'll take it. We're not afraid of it. I'm not afraid of it as a head coach to move up. We'll just take whatever challenge comes our way. We are close, and we could go either way. We could be one of the largest 5As or the smallest 6As. which we were that at Opelika. When I was there, we were before the new classifications, we were one of the smallest 6As there, and competing with Hoover and those guys. You have to do things a little bit differently. We know that the talent level would be a little better in 6A. But again, if we have enough kids to be in 6A, we expect to compete in 6A. We won't shy away from that. We won't make excuses. We'll take what we get.
When you look at divisions, as far as size of schools, I know it makes some difference about talent pool and things like that. But those kids that are on the field playing that game, I don't care if they're 1A and they're fantastic.
Right.
They're going to win.
Right. Yeah, I mean, and again, there are enough kids here to compete in 6A. I mean, with this senior class, you could compete. But again, we hope that I would rather stay here in 5A. But again, we'll take whatever we get.
And, you have to deal with that.
You do.
But one of the things, now let's get back to the staff. You talked about coaches and their positions and everything else. Some changing around. Using coaches in different ways than they've been used as far as assistant coaches. These are all good changes. These are all fine gentlemen. They know what they're doing. This isn't, on the ones that I know, they know what they're doing. And I think you've done a real good of a job of assimilating these people and working with them and finding their strong points.
Well, when I had the first staff meeting with the coaches, I had it. I think I got here on Wednesday, and I might have had the staff meeting Friday morning. Mm-hmm. I told every one of them that I wanted to retain them. I'm just not one of those guys that wants to come in and change everything. In high school, it's different. There were some things, some moving parts that we needed to do. We needed to move around, and but most people have, from my feel, have fit well into their roles. There haven't been a ton of changes, just a couple to mention. I'm coaching the offensive line in the spring. And I'm going to be involved heavily in the offense. Again, I hired Brandon Johnson to be the offense coordinator. He's coaching quarterbacks, which moved Coach Todd Clements, over to running backs. Now, Coach has been doing a lot of softball so far, but he's done a good job. And then he's even working this spring, because we're kind of short-staffed, with the receivers as well. Mm-hmm. Coach Gilmore moved to coaching fullbacks. And I needed an offensive line mind right there, because those fullbacks are glorified linemen. We still play with a fullback, and he's a banger. That guy has to fit in there and be physical. And Coach Gilmore understands the leverage of those blocks. And he and I we have to work together a good bit with the fullback and offensive line. So that's been very good, because he and I kind of have already bonded in that sense. And he's done a great job. Coach Dove, I may have mentioned him. He's coming over and helping us from the middle school, just to kind of fill some needs right now as we're short-staffed, and done an incredible job. Coach Clyett, Coach Russell's been over, Coach Deveridge from the middle school. And then on the defensive side, Coach Black is coaching the defensive line in the spring. Coach Black is the head middle school coach, and done an incredible job of organizing that program and re-energizing that program. I think he's a very good coach, and he's a very good defensive line coach. But he's been here to kind of fill a need right now in the spring. Coach Mock was coaching safeties and corners, and now he moved down to linebackers with Coach Vincent leaving, which put Coach Reagan, who's always been an offensive coach, we moved him to safeties. He has experience there. He's coached safeties here at Eufaula before, but he's a Coach Malzahn guy. Coach Reagan and Coach Malzahn go all the way back to Arkansas, but he's coaching safeties right now and doing a great job. And then Coach Mike Henry's coaching corners. Coach Henry, I wanted to keep. Coach Henry is a great man who has been here a while, and he has done a good job with the corners. So again, there have been some moving parts, but all the coaches have really been really receptive to any change. Some have welcomed the change. Sometimes you need a new start, and sometimes that sort of rejuvenates you, and that's what I've seen. The practices, and you've seen it, have been energized, and the effort's been there, and the coaches, because the coaches set the tone for practice. What we do at practice is going to set the tone for the kids, and we can't have off days. and none of the coaches have had an off day, and I don't expect them to. And those guys have been out there working and pushing, and I've been very, very impressed by our staff, again, even with a short staff. And we're expecting to hire 2 more guys on the varsity staff. And if we can do that and fill those needs with what we've already done and the foundation that's being set here now, I have high expectations.
When you look at the expectations of this class of seniors and on down, you've got quite a team practicing out there. They don't have the organization all together yet, but they're learning a new way of playing football, and they're having to adjust to it. And even the staff has had to do it, and they've done an excellent job in watching them manipulate within these confines that you've got. When you can do that, now let's take it to another level. When we look at the team, you can talk about a shotgun, you can talk about this or that or the other. Are we going to be one type of offense, or are we going to be several?
I believe you got to do a couple things very well. In anything. Defensively, same thing. I told Coach Mock that, I just want to do a few things well and be sound in everything we do, and then let the kids play. Offensively, we're going to run the football. I mean, that's the way it has to be. We've got I believe a very good offensive line. We're still working on some pieces. A senior-laden offensive line. There are 3 seniors up there right now. So we're old. Those guys have played a lot of football. And as far as our scheme, no, we're going to do one type of offense. We're going to be a downhill 20 personnel run to play action team that throws the ball down the field when we have it. We've got an athletic quarterback that can run the ball too, which poses a lot of issues to a defense when you have a dual threat quarterback. We're finding some receivers, finding some playmakers on the edge. As far as where we are, which is a little uncommon, our offensive line is a little further along than our skill people. Again, probably because of some scheme differences, and the kids don't know the terminology. I've been here a month, and we've met so much, and had the kids coming in. The coaches are coming in at 6:30. The kids are coming in at 7, and so we're working on that, and we're getting them acclimated to our scheme. But I am we have 3 runs. That's it. 3 total run plays right now in the spring, and we have maybe 5 passes. We're running 8 total plays. That's it in the spring, because we've got to do a few things well. We're not going to go out there and try to do everything and not be good at anything. And same thing defensively. We'll look very vanilla in the spring, but we've got to set a foundation of toughness, of execution on offense, of playing with tremendous effort, and just simply playing hard. And that's what we're working on mostly right now.
How much do you think that the strengthening and conditioning is going to help this summer towards next fall? Well,
let me say this first. Dwayne Mock was filling in as the interim head coach, and he spent 5 weeks as the interim head coach, and did an absolutely incredible job of not only working the kids out and running them and getting them in shape and maintaining the strength and even building it, but also just keeping the kids together. When you don't have a head coach in place, sometimes those parts are moving, and I know that people want your kids, and when we got good players like we do, then people try and get them to come to their school. But Dwayne did an incredible job, and I don't give him enough credit for what he did. But as far as this summer, we still have some strength issues in some areas, and we've got to build that. Again, the addition of a strength coach, and I think Brandon Johnson from Opelika is as good as any high school or college strength coach I've ever met, of understanding how to fill the needs of each kid based on their body and their abilities. He does an incredible job of building strength. He was the strength coach for 4 years at Opelika, and our kids, this year was the year that those guys are seniors, and the numbers are they're out of this world as far as what Opelika is doing, and they're going to be that way here at Eufaula. Those numbers will increase over the summer. We'll have around 6 weeks to work them out throughout the summer. And then we'll keep working out all fall, because we're a little bit behind, not terrible, but you'll see some real growth over the summer as far as the physicality of our kids and the strength, and then even the conditioning of our kids. But Dwayne Mock set the tone of it, and then we'll build on it this summer.
I know that coming up in the scrimmage even, then we'll go to the spring game. The scrimmage, you're going to see a team that works as a team. And I'm convinced of that from watching practice yesterday. And I think the people need to be aware that this is going to be a nice scrimmage to see what these kids can do. And they're really capable.
Yeah, and we're going to make it as game-like as we can. Again, I've always said I don't want the first time that we put them in a game situation to be against Northview. You know, I want to have game-like experiences before that, as much situational work as we can do. Yesterday, for example, was a huge third down day. Thursday will be a red zone day inside the 20-yard line. I want them to understand situations in football and not just go out there and just be playing blind. I want them to understand what we need them to do and how we want to do it, and understand down and distances. And again, when we get, when somebody's driving the football on us, I want us to be able to stand up and force a field goal in the red zone, those kind of things. And so the scrimmage will look like that. Like we may go everything I do is in segments of 4. 4 third down and 3s, 4 third down and 5s, 7s, and then 4 red zone plays, and we'll be rotating groups. So we'll be working what we call it, the red group is our 1s, white group is 2s, and the Tigers group is our young guys that we have coming over. And so we're organized in our grouping, and you'll see us very situationally minded Saturday, and I think it'll be very good for our kids. We'll pull the chains. We've got our chain crew coming out. Officials are coming out to the game, again, to make it as game-like as we can.
When you look at this and you see all the excitement going on, I have to go back to a friend of mine that gets excited. That's Sarge. He beats all I've ever seen. But he keeps that team. He stays on them just like you do.
Sarge is another coach. I mean, I heard stories. You and I had talked about Sarge, and Coach Mock and I, and all the coaches that said, I can't wait for you to meet Sarge. And so Sarge comes over, and you know what? He takes care of a lot of stuff that I simply don't have time to take care of. He is a equipment manager. He can tape. He can fill the water. He gets our segment timer going. He wears a lot of hats. He worked on cameras yesterday. So he does a lot of the things, and I hope he's around forever. And I know he's a big Eufaula guy, but he's on the kids, and he pushes them. And you know what's great about it is they respond to him so well. They love him. The first day he walked in, they were all hugging him. They hadn't seen him in, a few months, and they were all hugging him. That says a lot about him and the way that the kids feel about him.
When I think about when I first met him, we were still at the old senior stadium, and he was a student working with the team. And just day one, I thought this guy's fantastic.
He is. And, a lot of places have those guys that are willing to give up their time and come out and support the team. And that's what, that's what he lives for, is Eufaula sports, not just football. He wants to be around it. He goes to the softball games, basketball games, and he just does a great job.
Yes. Well, let's look and repeat once again exactly what's coming up this Saturday.
Okay. May the 9th, Saturday, May the 9th at 10 a.m. we will have an inter-squad scrimmage with all of our kids. There will be a defensive group in white and an offensive group in red. And again, we'll be running different groups of kids on the field constantly. And everything is very scripted. We will feed the kids at 12 after the scrimmage, in hopes also that parents and friends will purchase a plate. I'm going to feed the kids myself, but I want parents and community members to purchase a hamburger. Mr. Taylor's going to be grilling them. It'll be smelling good out there. And they'll purchase a plate, eat with the kids. I just want it to be a time of fellowship with them, and just sort of getting us used to each other, all of us, in a setting that's not just football, that's very personal, and that we can just get to know one another.
One of the things I'll mention, but I do not want this to take the place of people showing up. We are going to broadcast the scrimmage live on radio with the PA announcer doing it. But I want people to know that's all right, but I want people out here. These kids need to get the feel of a real game as much as possible. I'd love it if 3,000 people showed up.
Me too. Well, it's going to be beautiful. It's going to be beautiful. And again, it's going to be game-like. I mean, we're tackling live. There are officials. There's a PA. And the scoreboard's going to be on. Everything's going to be as live as we can make it. And we just hope that everybody comes out. Please support the kids. What it'll do, if we put a lot of people in the stands, it'll make us ease for Northview. It'll
Yes.
put a level of comfort in being in front of people where we don't make a ton of mistakes in the spring game, and we can go ahead and get those, because they'll be nervous now. I mean, being in the stadium for the first time, and I wanted it to be that way. I didn't want to practice at all in that stadium until we put them out there in that scrimmage, because I want them to feel that atmosphere, but we need people there.
And that's the key thing. Need people there. 10 o'clock on the 8th at 10 a.m. Don't forget it. Come early.
Please
Be
come.
here. Thank you very much, Coach.
Thank you for having me.